Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
We have been called deplorables, worthless, right-wing nuts, troublemakers, on and on, because we supported a conservative president. Now, the left wants us to apologize and make up. Nope. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by Patriot. Come on, Patriots, don't let me down. Pledge of Allegiance time. And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, sitting high atop the Zeb at the Ranch studio towers this morning. Anyway, glad to have you with us with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they are in the week of giving to help all the folks in this Magic Valley that need a little extra help during Christmas time, and we salute your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I'm only at 4250. I'm not up there 20,000 feet like you. But I pledge allegiance to the flag for the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God bless you, my dear friend. And let me be the first to do this with you this morning. Merry Christmas, Jerry and family. God bless you. Thank you so much.
And Merry Christmas right back, and may the Lord bless you and every one of them young children. And I know that's all that's called into your station.
Okay.
Is young children usually in their second childhood this morning.
Thank you, Jerry. God bless you, man. Thanks. Time for the weather, and the weather brought to you by K&R Rental. Second childhood. There's a lot of truth to that with me. 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. You can't miss them, and there's no reason to, because they are the best at offering tools and equipment for long and short-term rental. They've got everything over there. I mean, no matter what the task, no matter what the project, you give them a call if you have questions before you stop over. 678-3122, K&R Rental. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Enjoy the calm before the storm, because there is a storm front moving in. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Today looks like partly cloudy skies, especially more towards the afternoon. We are looking at a high of about 41. Slight breeze out of the southwest at about 6 miles an hour. Tonight, chance of rain and or snow showers, mostly in the overnight hours, and we are looking at a low right around 32. Tomorrow is when the storm is going to start moving in. Rain and snow showers. We are expecting a high of 38. Little or no snow accumulations are expected for Thursday evening. That will persist with a low of about 25. Friday is when the storm is going to hit, and we're expecting anywhere between 1 and 3 inches of snow between Friday and the weekend. That's a look at your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Oh, goody. Thank you, Gina. Excuse me. Looks like we might have a little snow on the way, but we want to say thank you to our dear friends at K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 West of Heyburn on the Burley-Paul Highway. Roger and the crew can help you. They will help you, and they've got tools and equipment for both long and short-term rentals, so you get a hold of them today. Everything you could need right there at K&R Rental, 678-3122. Want to also give a great big shout-out this morning to our dear friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, of course, you know that they provide warm winters and cool summers and all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. That's not bragging. That's a fact. And they've got the expertise and the people and the experience. I mean, 7 decades. Come on, folks. They're the best at what they do. At 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, the number to call, 678-0459. They're open 7:30 to 5, Monday through Friday, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Well, there's the moo of the cow, and good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Well, good morning to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Zeb Bell.
Thank you, my friend.
But I've got myself worked up this morning.
Uh-oh.
And here's why. I heard on the news yesterday that only 64% of Idahoans voted for Trump. That is a disgrace. But what can you expect when you got a governor that's out playing with these cows, or maybe a attorney general that's hiding in the weeds, or maybe a lieutenant governor who nobody knows who she is? They didn't know we had a female lieutenant governor. Did you?
Oh, of course. I mean, I've actually visited with her. I've visited with her on many occasions. Keith, you're a dear friend, but I want to kind of right the course of the ship here a little bit this morning. 64% is not bad when you consider that the influx of out-of-state people coming in over the last 5 years from leftist states, including Oregon, Washington, and California, and I'm actually kind of surprised that it was as high as 64%. And I just hope and pray that that number stays in the 60% range. I'm not going to denigrate anybody as far as their other occupation, their other ranch, and having to take care of a ranch, but I will say that there's got to be more discernment as to how to run the state in making sure that we don't have any more closures, we don't have any more lockdowns, and people are allowed to make a living. I think I kind of summed it up there for you, buddy.
Well, my dad told me about something years and years ago, and it is, you cannot serve two masters. And by golly, I believe he was right on.
When you say serve two masters, we have to be a little careful there, because when you start talking about politics on a state and local basis, most all, I'd venture to say most all, like 95 to 96%, are serving two masters of trying to run a business, trying to run a farm, trying to run a ranch. And so I don't go along with that. You can't serve two masters.
Well, let's think of it this way. Is our governor focused on what Idaho needs or what the ranch needs? Now, I don't care. I don't even know Governor Little, but when's the last time you seen him in Burley, Idaho?
Well, you're putting me on the spot, because naturally, Keith, I don't know his schedule and where he has been and or is going. So I'm not going to answer that question. You got to be fair to me. I don't know when the last time he was in Burley. I think he was in the Magic Valley just a literal couple of weeks ago. Some pictures were in the paper, etc. But really, to come out this morning in condemnation of whether it's the governor or whether it's some of our legislators. I don't know if I want to go there this morning. I'm just saying, and I've made this point completely clear to my audience, I will not support another lockdown shutdown, whether it comes from the governor's office in Boise or, even worse, after the first of the year, especially January 21st, if and when Biden takes over. I have a sneaky feeling from some of the people I've talked to, and this ought to curdle your milk a little bit this morning, that he wants to have perhaps a 3 to a 5 month shutdown starting when he takes over as president. And that's where I will call, and I'm going to make this announcement right now. I will make a call for everybody to ignore and revolt and leave their doors open, because there is no way that anybody should be forced to lose their livelihood, possibly lose their homes and all their savings. I absolutely think it's time for a revolution to fight back.
You know, and I want to make one other comment. Why can't we find more people like Bert Stevenson?
Well, I agree.
Never served in the state of Idaho.
I agree with it. I'm not going to argue that point. I've said for a long, long time that he is kind of a high water mark that everybody should look up to, and his personality, his work ethic, his getting things done. I've always respected Bert, and I hope he's listening this morning. He and Elaine are very special people. Keith, I appreciate your call. Every morning you kick things off, and that means a lot. God bless you, man. I got to run. Thank you so much.
Well, I got you, Stuart.
Okay.
But we're not on the same page.
Well, that's all right. That's all right, my friend. I appreciate that. You're still my good friend.
The thing about Bert Stevenson, he did serve 2 masters. He served 3 masters, 4 masters, 5 masters. He was a very active member in his church, and he just dedicated his life to success and well-being of the state of Idaho.
I agree with that. You're not getting an argument. If you're looking for one, you're not going to get one. I consider...
But I could tell some others that you would.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to go there right now this morning, but I'll tell you, I consider Bert a dear, dear friend, and many, many, many times he's been a mentor and has helped me on various issues. Keith, God bless you. You and your wife have a great day. Thank you so much.
We will.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
Thank you. I want to remind everybody about Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Oh, and another location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time. Desserts. Oh, boy, have they got desserts. And above all, super nice people serving you. I'm telling you what, and turkey dinners now because of the season, great Christmas season, and delicious pies. Oh, my. You better make a trip into Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, 611 North Overland in Burley. And don't forget, next week on Wednesday, the 23rd, Christmas on the Radio with Denny's. 3 hours of just a lot of fun and chit-chat, etc., celebrating Christmas with Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Well, I wholeheartedly support your thought about opposing any kind of a lockdown. You know, the research shows that lockdowns are killing people. They're killing businesses. The suicide rate in this country is astronomical. They're totally hiding that. And the numbers that are coming out are just devastating. People that were in support groups, that has disappeared pretty much. And I know of at least 2 suicides here in the Magic Valley of relatives of friends, their friends that have committed suicide. And it's just sad. And like I say, the mask thing, out of Belgium, there was over 2,000 medical healthcare people, over 400 doctors, and they run studies. The masks don't work.
All right,
the virus goes right through.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in.
Don't work.
Let me jump in, Adrian. Adrian, let me jump in and talk back and forth with you. I am absolutely going on record, and I said that for a purpose this morning, that whether it's on a state basis with the governor or if it's a mandate, supposedly, by Biden, if and when he does take over the presidency on January 21st, it is time to fight back. Everybody's business, now hear me on this, everybody's business is essential. Everybody's job is essential. And everybody has a right to pursue their happiness and their work. And I absolutely think that with another mandatory shutdown that Biden is thinking about, it's time to have a complete revolt and tell the government one simple word that's only 2 letters: no.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you, Zeb. And, this idea of staying in your house and not getting out, getting fresh air. During the lockdown, I went out and walked almost every day to get some fresh air. I've never got sick. I'm not putting myself in a situation where I, try to get sick either. But use personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Let's follow South Dakota. They never locked down the state.
Yeah.
Their economy is booming. People are making money. They're having freedom, and they haven't had any more deaths per capita than we have.
Yeah.
With all of the edicts coming from the governor. The thing that really bothers me about what the governor's done is he has not listened to the people. He's listened totally to the medical bureaucrats, and they're all getting their paychecks. Now, if the governor went a couple of months without a paycheck, and these medical bureaucrats, they change their tune about a lot of this stuff.
Well, I got to run, and I've got calls stacked up, but you're 100% right. And let me end this conversation by saying that you're a dear friend. I appreciate your wonderful gift. God bless you, man. I got to run to some other calls. Thank you so much.
You have a great day.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Bye.
Caller, I'm going to be right there. Let me pay some bills quickly. Have your patience, please. Dino Septic Service. Don't forget the very best of septic tank pumping, backhoe services, water and sewer lines installed, sewer and sink drain lines cleaned. Oh, the list goes on and on. They are ready and willing and able to serve you. They've got the latest of modern equipment, and they know how to get the job done. Dino Septic Service. Let me tell you something. Call 436-6526 or 678-1638, or in Twin 735-8281. Don't forget the very best serving you, Dino Septic Service, and they wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Hey, there's a big sale, too. The Bennett Boys Auction Service putting on this Saturday, the 19th, the David and Florence Pierce Moving Sale at 11 o'clock. It's going to be over in Buell, Idaho at 1415 East, 4400 North. Look for the signs, lunch by the Cook Shack. They're going to have ATVs, sprayers, shop tools and supplies, lawn and garden equipment, a lot of that, along with furniture and household goods and collectibles, recreation and fitness items. Better be there. Going to be a good sale managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service this coming Saturday. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
At my age, Zeb, patience is all I got left.
All right, Earl.
Yes. Yesterday, I was visiting with Steve about, who's teaching American government and history in our schools. And after I got done, there was a caller called in and says, where was he 20 years ago? And that got me thinking. And a little over 20 years ago, I was in kind of an ethics call that was going on locally here. And people told me you can't fight City Hall. And I was aware of that at the time, but considering what was going on, I stayed with it for 10, 12 years. And today it is so good to see people standing up for their rights and liberty and justice, other than being dictated to.
That's right.
In somewhat of a tyranny thing that's possibly going on.
Well, I think everything you said is the way I feel, and I'm urging, and I'm not trying to be negative. Please understand, I'm not trying to be just Mr. Frown and Mr. Negative. I am just saying that if it comes down the pike that you will shut down, you will stay in your house, you will not go anywhere, you will not do anything, I'm saying no. I'm opening the door up and I'm telling the government, get the you-know-what out of my life, because I'm going to live my life. I'm going to use all the precautions, Earl, as I've said this before. I'm going to wear masks out in public. I'm going to hand wash. I'm going to social distance because I want to protect not only the other people, but primarily my wife and myself. But don't tell me that businesses are not essential. Don't tell me that we have to live and die within the confines of our home. I'm asking for, at that juncture, a complete revolt against government, and they need that revolt. They need a slap in the face.
And go back 50 years plus, and when we were in our government and history classes, what were you fighting? Communism. And today, it's worse than ever.
Yeah.
Here in this country.
Yeah, and there again, the main perpetrator of what's happening is us. We've let it happen. We've let it happen because we, the people, have not stood up and said no. Would you agree or not?
Yeah, I agree, because, it goes back to you can't fight City Hall. Well, hell if I can't.
Yeah. Earl, God bless you, man, and the man up on the mountain, thank you very much for sharing with us this morning. I appreciate it. God bless you, man.
Picking up death till I'm down to bedrock.
Okay. All right, Earl. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Want to remind everybody, too, I'm got to catch up on my commercials here real quick, and then we'll take some more calls. Your home is one place where everything should be perfect, including your air. Ramsey Heating and Electric helps you achieve the perfect air that you deserve with reliable, groundbreaking, award-winning Lennox products. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric and check out a Lennox home comfort system for your home. Call them today at 678-0459 or visit Ramsey'sOnline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Really, really good people. Don't forget, next Wednesday, the 23rd, it'll be Denny's Christmas on the radio right here on Zeb at the Ranch from 8 to 11, and we're going to have a lot of fun, giveaways, everything, celebrating a very, I hope, Merry Christmas 2020, and that'll be coming up this next Wednesday, Denny's Christmas on the radio. Don't you miss it. Let me see. I'll go ahead and take some calls right now. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I have just a moment waiting for your calls, and then I'm going to get into a subject that I can't wait to talk about. Two national anthems. Oh, yeah. Hey, Cheney Flooring and Home Design. These people are good. Idaho Premier Home Design Center, and they've got the luxury vinyl plank, the carpet, the tile, the hardwood, the mosaics, the countertops, home decor items. Oh, they're good. I can tell you right now that they did some flooring for us, and we were tickled pink. They absolutely can do the job for you. Whitney Cheney can help you design your space with a free design consultation. You better get a hold of them today or stop in at the Blue Store at 1300 Overland Avenue in Burley. Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Good people. Wishing you a Merry Christmas. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. We can't afford any more shutdowns.
No.
Next thing you know, these people are going to be losing their homes. There's no money to pay their bills. And when the shortfall hits, the government, or these mayors and governors are going to come after your bank account, my bank account, your children's piggy banks to keep the money going.
Yeah.
But their paychecks will continue to roll on.
No, as a matter of fact, I'm advocating this morning, and I was going to hit this story a little bit later, that if there's any advocacy, whether it's on a state basis or national basis of a shutdown, then at that juncture, all checks paid to politicians stop. They stop. For the businesses that are out of work, they stop their paychecks. They've got to learn the word suffer, just like the general public. And I'm absolutely incensed. Idiots. And that's what this man is. People are offended sometimes when I use a connotation of a name calling. Bill de Blasio in New York City is an idiot, making these edicts of closures of restaurants. They've bent over backwards trying to stay alive and stay in business. Then de Blasio's check should be cut off, and he's got to learn to suffer just like everybody else.
Well, people might get the idea that small businesses don't mean a lot.
Yeah.
But small businesses in this country have a big impact on our economy.
And
whether they realize it or not.
And Tony, I got another call waiting, but I want to make this point to you. Somebody said something really frivolously stupid to me a couple of weeks ago, and they said, well, here, you're advocating that we should stay open. And I said, yeah. Well, what do you got to lose? And I said, you really aren't thinking this through. My whole program and being on the air and paying my bills, paying my lease, and paying my mortgage and everything depends upon the advertisers staying open and flourish so they can pay for the advertising. Why in the world are people so sometimes very dumb?
Democrats.
Yeah, amen. Tony, you and Mary, God bless you. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Caller, if you're... Talk to me, caller, please. Well, Sean, are they there or are they gone? Caller, are you there? I'm not going to play with this any longer. If you're there, speak.
Zeb, I'm on. I can't hear you.
Well, then, I'm afraid I can't help you then. Call me back if you get to a situation where you can hear, because I think we've got it turned up as loud as we can turn it. Can you hear me now, quickly?
I can hear you, Zeb.
All right, go ahead.
Zeb, this is Dennis Hakes calling, and I've enjoyed your show this morning, and it leads right into what we're trying to accomplish here in this community. On Saturday at 4 p.m. at the Rupert Park, the Rupert Square, we're going to have a community prayer. And the purpose of this community prayer is to bring people together and bring their hearts together and to unite. Unite spiritually, unite physically, and unite as community members. I've had the unique opportunity to deliver flyers to nearly every business in Burley and Rupert Falls. And as I enter those businesses, I find people that are like-minded. They have a desire to do something, not sure what they can do, because they do feel a sucker punch coming from left field, and they all want to do something. And the one thing that we can do is we can pray, and we can unite spiritually, and we can ask for God's help to heal our land. And also in uniting, we get rid of any differences between us, whether it's religious or color of our hair, whatever it is, and become one. And this community can stand and protect itself because we're like-minded and because we fear God. And it's a beautiful place to live, especially at this juncture of our history.
I agree. Dennis, I hope you can hear me now. We've got feedback on the line. I don't know why we're having trouble with this call, but give us the parameters of the community prayer. What time, where, and all of this on Saturday, this coming Saturday the 19th.
Please come to the Rupert Square at 4 p.m. is when the program will begin. We'll have beautiful Christmas music. We're going to have beautiful scripture, some scripture reading in between the prayers. We're going to have 4 prayers, And these prayers will be based around giving thanks for the Christ child.
Amen.
Amen.
And all our blessings. And then pleading with God that he will heal our land. And guide and direct us through the next whatever situation we may face.
Well, I want to say that the last involvement that you had, I attended, and I want to give you a kudo for a job well done along with all the other people that helped. And I certainly will direct them this Saturday at 4 p.m. And again, give us the location and the time.
The location is the Rupert Square, where they beautifully have decorated that square.
Right.
The city of Rupert, the Christmas city, about the time that our meeting will end, the lights will come on.
Okay.
And we're looking forward to seeing that beautiful new Christmas star that will be forming. And it should be a spiritual experience for all. And promote loving our neighbor and loving one another.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Dennis, I appreciate your call this morning. I've got my family situation this Saturday to where we're all getting together, or you could bet I would be there. I support you. I'll keep plugging it at the Rupert Square this coming Saturday, community prayer, and don't miss it. Dennis Hakes, thank you for calling in. I'm sorry we had some technical difficulties, but have a great day, and I hope it's a success.
Thank you, Zeb, for your support, and I appreciate your show and all your patriots out there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Don't forget, that's really important. They did a wonderful job the last session that they had about 2-3 weeks ago, and my wife and I were in attendance, and I really give them kudos. They are trying. They're trying to do something constructive and beneficial, not only for us and not only for the state, but to make people aware that it is we the people and there is a being above us all that we'd better start prayerfully asking for more help, and that's God. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Oh, my goodness, the best of breakfast, the best of all the meals at their delicious restaurant and their bakery. They've got a bakery that'll knock your boots off. Delicious. And every Monday we give away a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. Real quick, too, I want to remind everybody, and then I'll take my call, about Barry Equipment and Rental, Sales, Service, and Parts, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin, and the Nampa location. They've got all the Bobcats, all the shapes and sizes. They've got all the trenchers, scissor lifts. They've got all the Doosan wheel loaders and excavators. They've got the equipment for the lifting, digging, pushing, and carrying, let me tell you. And if you're not sure how to run it, they'll teach you. They got a sandbox out behind the business. Really good people at Barry Equipment and Rental with excellent finance programs and super lease programs. Better check it out today. Burley, Twin Falls, and Nampa. Barry Equipment and Rental. Caller, thank you for your patience. Good morning.
Thank you. Hey, I just wanted to say to every business owner out there, if another shutdown comes down, thumb your nose at the government, tell them heck no, and stay open.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any more people going out of business like they have.
Absolutely. And I tell everybody, too, Rodney, that, wear the masks and social distancing and the precautionary activities, etc. But no, do not close down. I don't care if it's a jewelry store, shoe store, if it's a craft store, or if it's a big box store. They're all essential. Nobody shuts down. Thank you, Rod. I appreciate that.
And one other thing I wanted to add. I think the Democrats have the perfect animal symbol, if you know what I mean.
I said that last week. Thank you, Rodney. I appreciate it. God bless you, man. Thanks. All righty. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. This is Chuck Driscoll, a Veteran Service Officer.
Well, my friend Chuck, how are you?
I'm doing great. I wanted to call and express my gratitude to the people who have donated to the various Christmas things that we've been trying to do. We have Christmas stockings for every veteran and every nursing home in the two-county area. We're just thrilled with the response and the the amount of things that have been donated for us to be able to make Christmas for our veterans who are in the nursing homes. And then we have another initiative that's going on Saturday at noon at the View Cemetery. We're doing the Wreaths Across America, and there will be a great program there with some of our local veterans helping us out to honor those that have passed before us. If you have a chance, if people have a chance, they could come out and visit with us at the View Cemetery at noon. That's at, let's see, I think it's 600 South and 700 East in Cassia County. And I just want to thank everybody. You know, it's easy to be negative right now with all that's going on with our crooked politicians and everything else. But there's a lot of good in our community, and if every community were like ours, we wouldn't have problems in this country.
One other thing that I'd like to reiterate with you, Chuck, is that I've been telling my audience that if they would please sign a couple of extra Christmas cards to our veterans and tell them thank you for your service, etc., and mail them to you, Chuck Driscoll, at the Minidoka and Cassia County Veterans Office, and that's P.O. Box 545 in Burley, and you distribute those to our veterans. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, and I have been, and I've been thankful for the support. Very much so.
All right. Well, listen, Chuck, you're welcome here anytime on the radio. God bless you, and tell all of our veterans that you come in contact with, thank you for their service.
Well, thank you, Zeb. You have a good holiday.
God bless you, man. Merry Christmas. What a nice man.
Merry Christmas to you.
What a nice man, and serving the veterans. And
enjoy the calm before the storm.
I have no idea why Gina's back with the weather, but we'll take the call instead. Good morning. You're on the air. Funny things happening this morning.
Yes, Zeb.
Go ahead, please.
I'd like to bring something up a little different. I was listening to the news earlier this morning. Walmart has put in a $4 billion fleet for delivery, call-in orders. And to me, this is a slap in the face. What about our local people that worked and strived all their lives in this country? They're everywhere. I was in business here for almost 40 years. I shop locally. I still support people here because they supported me. And I really don't care if gas is another $1 a gallon or whatever it is. I'm still going to stick with the people.
Absolutely. I'm not aware, and help me on this a little bit. You know, I can't be a kind of a be-all, end-all, and receive-all on all stories, but tell me a little bit more about what you're concerned about.
What I'm concerned about is they're taking the people's livelihood here by, you know, they call online, shop, they deliver it to them.
Yeah.
And there's a $4 billion fleet that Walmart's putting out. I think it's drastically going to hurt our local people real bad.
You know, and when it comes to local business, I am entirely on your side. Now, let me say this, and maybe you'll agree with me and maybe you won't. I do not ever and won't ever be negative towards any business. I won't be negative towards Walmart. I won't be negative towards any of the so-called big box stores, as long, and here's the catch, the caveat, as long as we're all operating on the same page. I don't like to see them, the big box stores, have any advantage, if you will, over a mom and pop business that's really struggling to survive. And in this case, I find that to be, that's not fair, and I would condemn them for that, because I want to see everybody try to stay open and try to flourish in these very bad economic times.
I do. I'll agree with you there 100%. My concern is this is going to catch on and just keep it going. Look at Amazon, for instance. They sold over $750 billion in goods and stuff, and that takes the food right out of the mouths of the local little dealers.
I couldn't agree with you more, because the more that the small businesses are driven away from being in business, the more opportunity it's going to hurt me financially and take away my business so that I will not go in the hole financially and I'll have to curtail this program. So I am entirely on your side this morning.
Well, thank you, and I would say to the local people, let's help our business out there, local business. They pay our taxes, our schools, and everything else, and we're not getting anything from these big conglomerate businesses back east or whatever.
Thank you, sir, and a Merry, Merry Christmas to you. Thank you so much. Caller, I'll take your call before I go to the weather. Go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. That man is 100% correct.
Yes.
If you can go in Walmart, you can go in a small business.
Yes.
I mean, and this is the left's way to control. If they can get all the small businesses to shut down, then the big companies can, thrive because the big companies donate to the ones that are shutting them down.
Okay, but wait a minute, Doug, and I think in all fairness, and Sean, there's a little bit too much feedback on the line. Thank you. You know as well as anybody does that when we do our lunch bunch, and God help us, I hope we can get back to doing that in 2021, we get solicitations of asking for help to the big businesses and the smaller businesses. And so far, this is a fact, we've had the big box companies and the smaller companies contribute. As long as everybody's on the same page, I do not want nor will I support a big business over a small businessman anytime, anywhere. But as long as they're willing to help the community as others are, then I put them on a parity system to where they're equal.
Well, yes, but who's pushing to shut down the small businesses and the restaurants and leaving the big ones open?
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is right now, Doug, they've been very contributory towards what we've been doing with Lunch Bunch, and I'm talking about the bigger businesses, i.e. Walmart, etc. And I'm not going to denigrate them if they keep contributing to local causes. But when they try to take over all the business and run other small business owners out of business, that's where I draw the line.
Exactly. And that's basically kind of what I was trying to say, but in a roundabout way.
Well, we got back to the starting line. Let's go have a cold adult beverage, and we're all happy.
That's right. I'm ready. Hey, also, too, our congressmen and women and congresswomen that are back in Washington and here in Idaho that do work for us, they have deadlines and they have obligations they need to meet, like Pelosi and them. They need to present a budget.
Yeah.
They have not presented a budget in how long? Just a continuing resolution?
Mm-hmm.
So, my proposal, and I would like to see this go nationwide, is you've got a deadline to present a budget. If that deadline is not met, then you are not going to be paid because you are not doing your job.
Amen.
Until a budget is presented. Then you do not get back pay. All your back pay will be donated to the veterans or some charity that helps the American people.
I'm not opposed to that idea at all, and I would say whether it's Gruesome Newsom in California as the governor, or Cuomo in New York, or even our governor here, if they're going to sit there with a Solomon-type wand and say, well, this is essential, that's not essential, we're going to have another lockdown, shutdown, so you're out of business, you can stay open. No, I advocate a complete revolt because everybody's business is essential. And if you're going to start dictating as to who's going to stay open and not, then your wages that are paid from the taxpayers, they are stopped immediately.
Exactly, and I'm on board with you on that, because they're here to represent all of us, not just the ones that they think needs to stay open.
That's right. No, you and I are on the same page, and I'm late with the weather. You can tell by looking at your wristwatch. Oh, Zeb's in trouble. Please hurry and wrap it up.
When are you not in trouble?
I know.
Anyway, everybody, it's the giving season. It's the birth of our Savior Jesus that we celebrate on the 25th. So let's do something for our senior centers, the ones that worked and toiled and built this country without GPS and without cell phones. And let's take care of them. Go eat there and leave with a full tummy and a full heart.
Absolutely well stated. Doug, God bless you. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Time for our weather. Actually, the truth be told, I'm way late with the weather. I've got to hurry. Weather forecast brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And believe me, hearing loss happens most of the time gradually. So when you start noticing a problem, please don't put it off. Get a hold of our friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids and let them help you. 312-0957. They're right behind the Minidoka County Hospital, across from the emergency room. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Enjoy the calm before the storm because there is a storm front moving in. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Today looks like partly cloudy skies, especially more towards the afternoon. We are looking at a high of about 41. Slight breeze out of the southwest at about 6 miles an hour. Tonight, chance of rain and or snow showers, mostly in the overnight hours, and we are looking at a low right around 32. Tomorrow is when the storm is going to start moving in, rain and snow showers. We are expecting a high of 38. Little or no snow accumulations are expected for Thursday evening. That will persist with a low of about 25. Friday is when the storm is going to hit, and we're expecting anywhere between 1 and 3 inches of snow between Friday and the weekend. That's a look at your weather for 7th Duran.
Thank you, Gina. And, of course, brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they can customize your hearing health with their kind of individual needs and all their technology. Please let them help you. These are nice people, very knowledgeable people at Mount Harrison Audiology. Number to call for an appointment, 312-0957. You know, I'm very much in favor of taking this call. That's what I'm very much in favor of doing right now. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Well, I'm very much in favor of you listening to me.
Okay.
Because I'm going to tell you that Chuck Driscoll, the VA for this area, has done more for it than anyone else that's been in the veterans deal. But every successful man, there's a successful woman, and that is his wife. And she has been really fantastic, and my hat goes off to her of what she does for the veterans of this area.
I think that's very well stated, and I have the highest regard for Chuck Driscoll and what he's doing, and God bless him. That was very nice of you to call in and say that, Keith.
Well, I mean it because I know both of them, especially Chuck, and he has went overboard. Every time I've had a small problem, he's helped me. And he helps every veteran. There's nobody that's special to him.
Absolutely.
Everybody is special to him.
All right, Mr. Cottom, God bless you for your thoughts. They were well stated. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right.
Have a wonderful day.
I will, sir. Thank you. One thing that I want to say as far as the disgusting partisanship that's been shown by the left and the Democrats against Donald Trump and his lovely wife, Melania. I don't know if you heard about this or not, but it just made me so mad. Deanna and I were watching the television early this morning at about 4:30, and they had a story on about First Lady Melania Trump taking her time and going to a local hospital to read to the sick children a Christmas story at the hospital. She went in wearing a mask. She was ushered into a special room where the children that were in this room were a minimum of 12 to 15 feet away from her. She sat down, took off her mask so that she could read the Christmas story into a microphone that was being sent out to children in other rooms in the hospital that could not be in attendance, and the left is after her and crucifying her for taking her mask off and reading a Christmas story. The idiocy and incompetency from the left, and I have nothing but dastardly things to say about them, When Biden steps up to a podium, he takes off his mask. When Kamala Harris does the same thing, Schumer, Pelosi, all of them. But because the First Lady took the time and the effort to go talk to a children's hospital and read a Christmas story to them, and she was not within more than 12 feet or 15 feet away from the closest child, and it was beamed into other children's rooms, and she is raked over the coals because of taking off a mask. God help this country, because we are sick, and the left is demented. I want to say a great big shout out and thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And as I said earlier, this week has been a week of giving. They have taken the time and the effort to really help our folks in need in the Magic Valley and helping provide others with food at Christmas time. And I say God bless them. All 7 locations. You better believe it. They have the best in tires, the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts and batteries, and the best in people. That shows loud and clear with their taking the time to go around all the Magic Valley and serving others at a time of need. Thank you, the Les Schwab Tire Centers, James in Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, Lane in Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland and Burley. The best of tires, etc., and the best of people at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. I'll be back in about 7 minutes. Oh, here we go. Hour number 2. Sean, yes. There you go. That answers your question. Thanks, old buddy. We're brought to you by, of course, our dear friends with your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And, of course, they have the best in tires and the best in service to you. And they're committed to helping others at this time of the year, Christmas time, with a food drive that they're out and about doing right now. Our hats off to the Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, along with our friends at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Right now, we're going to have this good word for our friends at Western Waste. Right now, let's have this good word for Western Waste.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're all at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this free land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal.
Western Waste Services, literally always at your disposal. I urge you to give them a call. Get on the route service, 734-6969, and say, hey, we got to get rid of our garbage. What do we do? Well, they'll get you on the route service, and once a week they'll be by to pick it up. It's gone. It's out of there. Always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. I want to remind you, too, I got to catch up. I'm way behind this morning. I want to remind you about Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox Home Comfort Systems. Check them out. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459 or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. Really, really good people. When you say the words good people, you know, of course, I'm going to lead right into some more good folks that have been with us for a long time on this program, and that's Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with my dear friend Joel Heward, the manager, and he also has his staff and family working and serving you. Absolutely treating all the families they serve with the best possible support and comfort. And when there's the passing of a loved one, believe me, they always uphold the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please call them 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. And Joel Heward also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. One more quick note. What do you mean one more? I know I'm running late, but I wanted to remind everybody about our dear friends over at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell and the very efficient, educated, knowledgeable staff of physical therapists can and will help you get back to being you. Please call, make an appointment today, 678-1191. I'll repeat that, 678-1191. Located at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, the best serving you, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. Right now, without further ado, let's go to the phone line. And my dear friend back in Indianapolis, Indiana, Dave Bego. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Zeb. How are you doing?
Running late. How's everything with you? The number, are you in Florida or Indiana this morning?
I'm down in Florida. It's warm down here, and back up in Indiana, it's about 27 degrees, and they got like 3 inches of snow overnight.
Well, I'm glad that we get a chance, and Sean, we do have a little feedback on the feed line, please. I'm glad that you're in Florida because you can give us a first-hand observance. Florida, way ahead of the game. They're not closing businesses down. They're not shutting restaurants down. They're not destroying people's lives as compared to New York and California and others. What's the attitude down there in Florida?
Well, so far the people that I've got to talk to in that seem pretty good about things, and it's pretty busy down here, and that's good to see. And I think the governor down here has done a great job. I really do. And but they still are putting in things, social distancing and masks and everything like that. And as long as people do the right things, I think they'll be fine.
Dave, I've made the statement, and you may not agree with me, which I absolutely encourage you. If you think I'm wrong, let me know I'm wrong. But this country cannot take another lockdown shutdown. And there are rumors going out that after, I hope he doesn't, but if he does take over the presidency on January the 21st, there are rumors that Biden will entertain perhaps a 3 or maybe even longer 5-month shutdown lockdown. And I've told my listeners and everybody that can listen across the country, no, stay open and absolutely not be dictated to by government as to whether you survive economically or not.
Yeah, I'm with you, Zeb. It's crazy what's going on, and you see what's going on in the large Democratic cities across the city like New York and Chicago and L.A. and Seattle and stuff like that, and the lockdowns and all that kind of stuff. And how it's hurting their businesses and, the people who own restaurants and stuff like that. And that's the people in America need to wake up that Biden and the Democratic Party, who are controlled by the left, are going to do this stuff, and we got to stand up and have a backbone.
They are threatening people. They are going in and pulling licenses, liquor licenses, etc. My goodness, for nothing more than just trying to have a business flourish, keep the employees to where they can have food on the table for their kids. I've never seen in all my years, and then we'll take a call, but Dave, I've never seen in all my years where people, honest, hard-working, God-fearing people, are treated worse than criminals.
Well, that's right, Zeb, but they, as I've mentioned many times on your show, they want to turn us into a socialist communist country, and you look where Venezuela went from a very prosperous free market society and went to communism, and those people, they don't have food, and they're living in boxes and shelters and everything else. And that's what they want to do to us in this country so they can control us.
We have a caller with a question. Caller, you're on the air. Go, please. Caller, if you're there, speak to me, please. Evidently, they're not there. I wanted to talk to you quickly also about another issue that I think needs to be addressed, and they need to put the hammer down on this guy, and that's Eric Swalwell, loudmouth, dim-witted Democrat from California that was the first to stand up and condemn President Trump, condemn everything with the GOP, claim that there was Russian collusion, and now we're finding out that he was, with 5 years, a female Chinese spy. What are your thoughts?
I think the Democratic Party ought to stand up and have him step down, but I think if they don't, I think the government needs to have him taken out of office.
Well, yeah, but that should be a slam dunk. I mean, Pelosi is the one that put him in for that Intelligence Committee job, and she, of all people, should say, oh, there were discrepancies here, and we don't know what was said or not said, so we will replace him from that Intelligence Committee, but she's standing behind him.
Yeah, well, Pelosi needs to go away, too, and she doesn't get it and understand it. She's all about control, too, and that's what she wants. And she wants to keep people in there that will control this country and give us Chinese access here to control us, too.
Absolutely. Let's take another call. Hopefully they're on the air this time. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. I want to go back to Monday's conversation about the stolen votes. I have to renew my driver's license, and I've been divorced. So to renew it and get the star card, which I have to go into a federal building or get on an airplane, right, got to get the star card. I have to take in my Social Security card, my birth certificate, my first marriage license, which was like over 60 years ago, my divorce decree, my current marriage license to get a star card. Men don't have to do that, been divorced, but women do. But why don't we have to show absolute proof of citizenship to vote? It's just really aggravating.
Absolutely.
We don't.
Absolutely.
To say that every day.
No, God bless you for your call. You know, that lady is correct, Dave. It's so frustrating that honest taxpayers, law-abiding citizens in this country, they are run through the hoop, and yet we have those on the left, Biden, Harris, etc., right on down the food chain, that want to give citizenship just carte blanche to anybody that steps across the border, and I absolutely hate this.
Yeah, Zeb, I agree with you, but as I've spoken many times and I've written in my blogs and that, you know, a lot of this is controlled by the left, the unions and that, who want these people to come in and, you know, it's like in Nevada. You know, I was watching a show here earlier this morning, an attorney out there talking that they had, several thousand illegal immigrants vote, and that didn't have to show up and give any information or any stuff like that. But, you know, the Nevada, especially Las Vegas, is controlled by the unions. And that's what's going on. They're just bringing these people in, and the unions control the voting sites, and they just let them vote, and they tell them who to vote for. And that's all to bring down this the Republican Party and this president and put a Democrat in there who they can control and take control of this country.
What do you respond, or how do you respond to some of these dim lights that represent the Democratic Party that come out and say, and they've been saying it for the last 2 weeks, well, I don't know what the right and the GOP are concerned about. This was the most honest and the most integrity-filled election ever. How do you respond to that garbage?
Because that's what they are. They're hypocrites, Zeb. You know, they speak out of both sides of their mouth, and they do say one thing and do another thing. And, you know, I've been through all this process, and that's what the far left and some of these unions are about. And, you know, and I'm not totally anti-union. We just have some big unions in this country that want to control us. And if you think back in history, the unions many years ago, back in the 30s and 40s and early 50s, were started by the mob, and that's what this is all about.
You know, I mentioned at the end of last hour, I've really been sickened by the below low attitude of the left and the way they attack various people. And the attack on First Lady Melania Trump the other day when she took her time, she went to a children's hospital, put her mask on when she walked through the hospital to get to a special room to where very few children were going to be in the room, and with the microphone system, they were piping her reading of A Christmas Story to all the other children in the rooms. And when she sat down in her chair, the closest child was about 12 to 15 feet away. She took off her mask to read The Christmas Story, and the left is absolutely crucifying her for taking off the mask. What are your thoughts?
Again, they're hypocrites. It's do as they say, not as they do. Because look at a lot of these Democratic politicians that have said, you people can't go out in restaurants anymore, and you can't do this and this. But that very night, they go out to dinner with their family, and they're not social distancing or anything. And it's all about them, and it's not about the American people. It's about them controlling us because, bottom line, Zeb, they don't know how to be successful in a free market capitalistic society. The only way they know how to be free is to be tyrants.
Amen. You know, I've made this statement. I want to see what you think. But, I mean, if you've got Cuomo and Newsom, and regardless of the state, regardless of the governor, saying, well, no, you will not open your business, you're going to shut down. And all these restaurants, Dave, you know this is true. They've put forth thousands upon thousands of dollars to try to make the situation copacetic with the new demands and regulations, and still they're getting shut down. I absolutely think when the people like Cuomo, or whether it's de Blasio in New York, they should, at the same time they're dictating to people to go broke, lose their homes, lose their business, their paychecks should be cut off also.
Well, I agree. And, we're the ones that are paying these people. And that's the sad thing for the American people. The American people need to wake up and understand we're paying these people to do these things that hurt the American people at every level. And, again, these people, again, Cuomo and all the rest of them, they want to be tyrants because they don't know how to be successful in a free market.
Dave, the other day in Michigan at the meeting for the vote of the electoral votes of the state of Michigan, the participants in this room were all asked to rise and honor two national anthems. The black national anthem and our national anthem. And I'm going to tell you flat out, never in my life will I ever stand for another national anthem other than our own. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you. And, again, this is all their program to brainwash these people that, we're all for them and stuff like that. But if you look at it over the years, that the Democrats have controlled these large cities like New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and Seattle and places like that, and they say they're going to do this for the blacks and everything, and we need to, salute the blacks and the national anthem and all that. But the poverty level of the blacks has never improved under the Democratic people.
That's right. But I will never, I'm not going to lower myself to that level of giving honor or credence to another national anthem other than what signifies and pays tribute to the red, white, and blue.
I'm with you, Zeb.
Yeah, another issue I wanted to ask you about. I don't know if you've heard this, but when I heard it last night, honestly, I about fell out of my lazy boy that the city of Seattle, and you know what happens on the left zany coast, sometimes goes all across the nation. The city of Seattle, and especially in King County, they are starting a program to where they're going to bill taxpayers to pay restitution to victims, and the criminal gets off scot-free.
I know, Zeb. This is crazy. It's the same, the guy that's I'm trying to think of his name, but he's new attorney general down in Los Angeles and that. And,
Gaskin.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're coming up with this stuff, and again, this is all stuff they're being controlled behind the scenes by the left to do these things. So that they can bring this country down, and America needs to wake up.
I don't know if you saw it the other night or not, and a lot of people thought I was picking on him because of his condition. No, I am telling people about his condition because he's absolutely unfit to be president. If you watched Biden at the podium the other night, and he was going with his rambling and mispronouncing names and words, etc. And then when he was done with his little speech, he turned to walk off the podium. And Dave, honestly, had it not been for his wife, Jill Biden, walking up quickly to grab his arm, I thought that this man, very fragile old man, was going to fall off the podium. He is absolutely not well. He is absolutely not healthy enough to be the president.
Well, I agree, Zeb, but this is what the left wants. They want him to be president. He's just going to be the face mask, and the problem is Obama's going to be the president.
Well, we both know that he's going to be pulling all the strings, but I really fear for this country because I can tell you this. I know groups upon groups of people that are so fed up and so worried about their livelihoods, that are so worried about trying to keep their jobs and the so-called pursuit of happiness in this great United States, that honestly, I think there's going to be some real ramifications.
Well, I do too, and I think it's going to be sad, but the American people need to stand up and have a backbone and fight back and stop all this stuff from happening. And it's going to be tough, but that's what you have to do. And you got to remember, Zeb, and I keep saying this many, many times, these people are communists, and they want to turn us into a communist society. And, I wrote a blog after my second book came out about a month or so afterwards, based on an article that a lady from California sent me from the Los Angeles Times, that the SEIU are communists. They march in the streets every year with the Communist Party. And it had pictures of the SEIU marching down the streets in California with their signs, with the communists marching right next to them with their signs. And here's the thing. We know, and this lady had sent me a video, that President Obama was a communist too because he was a member of the SEIU.
I just don't know what to do every day on this program. I'm so livid over seeing the destruction and the tearing apart of our nation by the left and the complete thumbing their nose at our Constitution, tearing that apart, and our kids are being taught that America is bad and evil in the school system instead of learning pride in America and the civics that they deserve to learn in school. I know I'm just one person, Dave, but I've absolutely am sickened the way things are going in this country.
Well, I'm with you, but this has been going on for a lot of times, and I think I mentioned this several weeks ago. Khrushchev wrote an article that, nobody could beat us in wars, so they said they're going to bring us down from within, and they've been doing it through our education system for the last 30 years or so, and brainwashing our kids and people, and and get into other people's minds in other ways, and that's what they're trying to do.
Absolutely. I've only got a minute left, but I'm going to say this, and I want to see if you'll chime in with me. I absolutely give great kudos and thank yous to President Trump and his administration for really, at what they call warp speed, getting the vaccines with various companies started and perfected so that we can fight this deadly Chinese virus. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I'm with you 100%. And I'm hoping that, and I know the U.S. Senate election process committee is looking at this election process, and I hope they find enough stuff to overturn it and keep the president in the White House.
Amen. I could not agree more. I absolutely thank you for that remark. Dave Bego, Indianapolis, Indiana, now in the warm sunshine of Florida. God bless you, man, and look forward to next Wednesday. If you can call into the program just for a few minutes, I'd appreciate it, and Merry Christmas to you.
Well, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
God bless you, man. Thanks. Dear friend, and I mean that, Dave Bigo, thank you so much. I want to remind you, Denny's Restaurant, next week on Wednesday, the 23rd, we're going to have Denny's Christmas on the radio. Absolutely. Thomas and Michelle. Michelle is such a blessing over there. She's such a hard worker. And we're going to have Christmas on the radio, and we're going to be calling in to them, and they're going to be, hopefully we can get it on a live stream and everything so that people can watch it on the TV cameras that we have here in the studio. Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Denny's Restaurant, great place to go eat. I urge you to do so at 611 North Overland in Burley. It is true, America's Diner. The best of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, anytime, all the time, all the desserts. Oh, my. And above all, really nice people serving you at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. Don't forget. Right now, I also want to remind you quickly before we go to our next guest, I want to remind you about Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Now, you heard the forecast. Gina was on just a little bit ago, and she said that we may get some more snow, more angel dandruff coming up on Friday. And so for the weekend, I'll bet you a lot of you are going to hit the hills on your snow machines. And if you don't have one, stop at Let's Ride. Oh, my goodness. They've got a showroom full of fun. Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 2, and along with all the snow machines, they've got all the accessories and a super service department to keep you running at Let's Ride, where the fun is sold. Really good people. Don't forget, too, while you're over in that neck of the woods or that part of the desert, don't forget our friends at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They really take care of you. I know because they've helped us on numerous occasions. They are good and very responsive to your needs. They wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I urge you to call to make sure you're covered, you, your family, and your business, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Holy cow, one more good word, and I'm gathering things up here to catch up today. I want to remind everybody about Patterson's Electronics, 421 East Main in Burley with Curtis and Lorena. Good people. They know everything about electronics. I mean, their mind is going 24/7, 365. It's like a huge computer. They know and they can tell you everything about all the home theater systems, video surveillance cameras, stereos and speakers, complete sound systems. Woo! All the television sets, everything. They are good. 421 Main East in Burley. Curtis and Lorena at Patterson's Electronics. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. Treat yourself to your own Christmas present at Patterson's Electronics. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and this is undoubtedly one of my very, very favorite guests because he tells it like it is, and I think he's one of the best, if not the best, economists that I've ever visited with about situations with our economy, the shutdowns, etc. Dr. Michael Bussler, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing? It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you again for those kind words.
Well, you're very, very welcome. You know, Doctor, do you mind if I call you Michael? I mean, sometimes we're way too formal.
Perfect.
All right. Listen, I absolutely am advocating, and you can criticize me if you'd like. I said this before last half hour, but I'm advocating that if there's any more shutdowns, any more demanded, mandated shutdowns, that people stand up and say, no, absolutely not. They are being crushed by the government. Their lives and their livelihoods are being destroyed. And I advocate a simple two-word response, no. What are your thoughts?
I'll tell you, Zeb, I would go along with you on this. These shutdowns are causing far more harm than what the virus would cause, especially in the hospitality sector and restaurants in particular. As you may know, Bloomberg reported that 110,000 restaurants are either closed long-term or permanently as a result of this shutdowns that the government has imposed. The problem is that when those restaurants don't come back, I mean, there's millions of workers that will lose their jobs, and hardship will be created on them. The other thing is, again, particularly with restaurants, I saw some numbers that came out that said less than 1.5% of the COVID positive tested people caught their virus at a restaurant. They were all caught it somewhere else, not at a restaurant. Only 1.5%, less than 1.5% at restaurants. So there's really no need to destroy the restaurant industry. It goes further, too, to small business. When we had the shutdowns in the national shutdown in March and April, businesses that were deemed to be essential, like if they sold food, they were allowed to remain open. Everybody else had to shut down. Well, places like Walmart and Target, which sell all kinds of things, virtually everything, they did sell food, so they were allowed to remain open. Meanwhile, all the small businesses were forced to shut, and they don't have the deep pockets that the Walmart and Target do, nor do they have access to capital the way those larger corporations do. And these people are struggling to stay afloat. Any more shutdowns, and in some places, and even President-elect, I think, Biden is talking about perhaps another national shutdown if things get worse. Any more shutdowns like this will have disastrous effects. The current administration, I think, took a logical position, saying, I'm not going to enforce anything more nationally, recognizing that states like New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania have a different set of problems than states like Kentucky and Nebraska. So as a result, we'll let the governors decide. The governors in most of the red states, like Texas and Florida, they decided to remain open, do what they can to fight the virus, minimize any negative impacts, but allow business to open. Some states, which have coincidentally all Democratic governors, like Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Michigan, California, Washington, Oregon, they all decided to clamp down very hard on the economy to get their virus numbers down. Their virus numbers are very high now, and the economy is being destroyed. As President Trump said, the cure can't be worse than the disease, and that's what's happening with these shutdowns.
There is not one of these governors, be it Newsom in California all the way back to the East Coast by you, Cuomo in New York, or Murphy in the state of New Jersey, or de Blasio in the city of New York, that has the Solomonistic attitude of really knowing everything. And for them to play judge, jury, and executioner to certain businesses, and then they taint the rules that they made by going into restaurants and serving themselves instead of letting the public have these amenities. I am sickened by this.
Yeah, I share your view, too. I'm sickened also. They've clamped down on allowing these places to open, and yet they flaunt their desires not to follow the rules. And you mentioned a number of governors that have been caught not following the rules. I think the worst case was the mayor of Austin, who told people not to travel, and he did it while he was vacationing in Mexico.
Right.
So he obviously traveled when he was telling everybody not to travel. So look, we're in a position where no matter what you do, you're going to lose. It's a no-win situation. The Democratic governors feel their main goal is to keep the number of COVID cases down, regardless of the harm that does to the economy. The other view by the governors like Texas and Florida, for instance, they say, look, we can't damage our economy long term. That's causing more problems and even health problems, because you have now, with all these unemployed people, you have problems with drug abuse, alcohol abuse, anxiety, depression, even suicide. So the governors in the red states have said, look, let's open up. We'll do this as safely as we can. We're likely to get an increase in the COVID cases, but we now have ways to treat those. Fortunately, the vaccines are now starting to come out. So let's keep the economy open, try to do it as safely as possible. We'll be minimizing our losses by doing it that way, rather than the way that the governors in those democratically controlled states have decided, let's just shut everything down. No matter what happens, we'll just shut everything down, and we'll deal with the economic consequences later. I'm so fearful of how bad the economic consequences will be. New York City has been destroyed.
Yes.
New York City used to be a place you felt safe to walk around, and now the crime rate has gone up significantly. There was always something to do there. There was always a place to go out and eat. There was all these cultural events to attend. It was a vibrant city, literally 24 hours a day. It's a ghost town today. It looks awful. People who work there are working remotely, so they're not going in. The restaurants all have to close. Many of the stores have to close, and they're talking about now even putting some restrictions on outdoor dining. Now, the restaurants in New York City, they can't have indoor dining. So far, they can have some outdoor dining, but they're about to get 10 inches of snow, and they're going to lose any of the outdoor dining, so it's going to destroy any of the holiday season for them. The cure cannot be worse than the disease, and that's what's happening in those red states.
Doctor, I am not an economist, but I try to use as much common sense as the God gives me. You can't, and when I say you, I'm meaning the government in the United States of America, you can't keep giving people money not to work, not to stay open. And I don't care what kind of a bailout program it is, you can't keep people in what they need for their food, their groceries, their children's education by handing them every maybe 3 months a check that says, oh, gee, you're out of business. Here, the government will help you. That isn't going to work, and all it does is drive the whole country further down the drain.
Yeah, it's actually worse than that. Not only are the government is just giving away free money, they're giving away free money that they don't have.
Yes.
And in order to be able to spend that money, they have to go out and borrow it. And the result of that is disastrous. Last year, fiscal year 2020, which ended on September 30th, last year the deficit was over $3 trillion in 1 year.
Oh, my.
That takes up the total public debt, which is the sum of all deficits, up to over $26 trillion. Now, people say, well, is that a problem? Well, most economists would say if the public debt, which is the total of all deficits over time, if the public debt is less than 1 year's GDP, it's tolerable. Once it gets above 1 year's GDP, you run into problems. GDP this year will be about 20.5 trillion. We're already into 26 trillion in debt, so we're way over 1 year's GDP. And now they're talking about, they're just about to sign, I think, another $1 trillion stimulus package, which will once again give money to people for not working. And while we're all very compassionate, we don't want to see anybody starve to death, we want to make sure everybody's okay, you can't continue to give people money for doing nothing. If that happens, they're going to start to feel they're entitled to that, and then there's no reason to go to work because the government will just give me money. The problem with the last stimulus package was whoever was unemployed, they got unemployment compensation from their state government. The federal government added $600 a week to whatever they were getting. It ended up more than two-thirds of the unemployed people were making more money being unemployed than going back to work. So when the economy finally reopened again and things started to get back to some growth in May and June and July, employers were having a tough time bringing their workers back. The workers didn't want to come back because they make less money working than when they were unemployed. Now, that ran out, and things will change now, but they're talking about adding at least another $300 to the unemployed people's paycheck. And again, we want to be compassionate. We don't want to see anybody get hurt, but we don't want someone to make more money not working than working.
Absolutely. Doctor, we have a call, and I've got 1,000 questions, and we've got limited time. Caller, quickly, you're on the air. Fast, go.
Zeb, I'll make this really short. I'd like to answer this question, then I'll hang up. Doctor, I would like to know how Warren Buffett, Harry Reid, and George Soros can talk to this nation and tell us that they're helping this nation. Could you give me an answer to that and all this?
I appreciate your call. Go ahead, Doctor, please.
That's a very difficult question to answer. I suppose their logic would be, look, we have business interests. Our business interests are doing well. We do well because we're supplying products that the American public needs, and as a result, they're buying the products, and our companies are doing well, and that's beneficial not only to us but also for the economy. I'm not sure that's the answer they would give. I'm not sure really what the answer is, but that's the best I could come up with.
Doctor, when I look ahead, and believe me, I'm not looking ahead with optimism at the possible takeover of the Oval Office by Joe Biden and, of course, Kamala Harris, I am very fearful of their programs that they want to completely destroy. Our energy program, our Medicare system, our healthcare system, our treatment of how we had our borders that were being much better secured, and now they want to open them up basically to no borders. And when you look at all of this that's going to cost the taxpayer, you and me, a lot more money, how in the world, and there's another word I wanted to insert there, how in the world can we exist financially? We're all going to go broke.
You know, Zeb, you're absolutely right. If Joe Biden does what he says he wants to do, government spending will skyrocket, the deficit will get worse, they'll be under pressure to reduce the deficit by raising tax rates, and raising tax rates will not necessarily bring in more revenue. And why is that? You tax at a higher rate, everybody, it tends to slow down economic activity. Very simply, people have less money to spend. If your taxes go up, corporations have less profit if their taxes go up. So if Biden is going to go ahead and do what he says, he's going to have to raise tax rates, but he may not be able to raise more revenue because the economy will likely slow down. That'll make the deficit even worse. How we get out of this, I'm not sure. One thing we're going to have to look at with government spending is what are the components that are driving up spending, and it's programs that are very difficult to try to reduce spending. Over 60% of government spending goes for Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and other income maintenance programs. And certainly nobody is in favor of cutting any of those, but that's 60% of government spending. Another 10% is the interest we pay on the public debt, which you have to pay. So now you're up to 70% of the budget that is almost untouchable. It's going to be very difficult to get government spending down. I think the best they can do is try to hold the line on spending, not let it increase every year, and then maybe through growth. And growth is achieved not by high tax rates, but growth is achieved by keeping tax rates down. And by keeping the rates down, you're likely to see an increase in revenue, not a decrease in revenue, because economic activity will pick up. So the only way to really get the deficit down, try to hold the line on government spending as best as you can, and it's extremely difficult politically, and then set an environment where you concentrate on economic growth. And when you concentrate on growth, that's going to provide more opportunity for everybody. Exactly what happened in President Trump's first 3 years. He didn't concentrate on curing perceived social injustices, which is what the Democrats will put in, and Joe Biden is his primary priority, his top priority. What President Trump said, he said, let's get the economy strong. Once the economy is strong and I can get everybody working and wages are going up, we'll have less need for government programs, and people will then be able to take care of themselves. And that's exactly what Trump did. The unemployment rate before the virus had gotten down to 3.5%. That's as low as we've had it since World War II. Historic non-war and historic low. Not just for average Americans, but for minority groups, African Americans, Hispanics, their unemployment rate was at historical lows, meaning they don't need government handouts anymore. They don't need free health care. They don't need welfare. They have enough. They have a good job now. They're earning enough income to buy their own needs, to satisfy their own needs, and the economy was doing very well. I share your fear that when Biden comes in, he says he wants to get rid of the Trump tax cuts. That means everybody's taxes are going to go up 10%.
Yep.
Trump cut taxes by 10% for everybody. He also says he wants to raise the corporate rate, which was lowered from 35% down to 21%. He wants to raise it back up to 28%. That, too, will reduce net income of corporations. That reduces the amount of capital they have. That tends to slow economic growth. And then he says, after that, I'm only going to raise taxes on people who make over $400,000 a year. Well, the problem is that's less than 2% of the population.
That's right.
So there's no way he'll be able to pay for what he wants to do, only raising taxes on 2% of the population. It's going to have to come from all of us. I'm so fearful that if he gets through what he wants, and the elections in Georgia next month for Senate may determine what he's able to do, but if he gets through what he wants to do by raising taxes, cutting off the energy industry so we're not energy independent anymore, that will drive up energy prices. By raising taxes, too, also he's going to create excess demand in the economy, which he says is good. The economy will grow. But the problem is, if you raise taxes on business, they don't have capital to expand. So what happens is, when you stimulate demand, business can't meet the new demand by increasing output. The only thing left to do then is to raise prices. You end up then with a situation we had back in the late 70s that we called stagflation, which meant you had a stagnant economy, business couldn't expand, yet we had inflation because they stimulated demand in the marketplace, business couldn't make any more output, so the only thing left to do was to raise prices. So you ended up with high inflation, a stagnant economy, which led to high unemployment. It wasn't until Ronald Reagan got in that he said, look, we need to fix this by lowering taxes for everybody, which he did, and he reduced regulations that expanded the economy. The inflation rate came down, the unemployment rate came down, and we're off for growth. So if Biden is able to put into place some of the things he says he will, I am so fearful of a stagnant economy. We'll lose our energy independence, which means gasoline prices are going to go up, and we end up with a high inflation as well as high unemployment.
Absolutely. And, I wish I had more time because I wanted to talk to you right down to the grassroots of our agriculture in this country. The more that you raise your fuel, the more that you put a stymie on growth, etc., and the more you have lockdowns with restaurants not being able to purchase produce, etc., the more it's going to fall back on agriculture, and that industry is going to really suffer and dry up. And there is the ruination of America.
Absolutely correct, Zeb. I wish we had more time, too, but you're absolutely correct.
May I end on a somewhat positive note to tell you that you are one of the most blessed guests that I have on this program. I thank you for your candid remarks, and I want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas. Please come back soon. Dr. Michael Bussler, thank you so much.
Thank you, Zeb. My pleasure to be here. Have a happy holiday to you, too.
Thank you, sir. Wow. I mean, that man lays it out. He lays it out as to the fears and trepidations, the worries, the scare that we're going to have with a very unknowledgeable Biden-Harris administration. Time for the weather. And, boy, I tell you what, you all got something to worry about now. You heard it. The weather brought to you by Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Sorry, Mr. Goodwin, I bit my tongue. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they have been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cassia area for well over 50 years. They are the best. They are the professionals. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, financial statement preparation, retirement planning, all of this and a lot more. Let me tell you, they are good at what they do, serving you. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, the professionals with offices in Burley and Rupert. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Enjoy the calm before the storm because there is a storm front moving in. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Today looks like partly cloudy skies, especially more towards the afternoon. We are looking at a high of about 41. Slight breeze out of the southwest at about 6 miles an hour. Tonight, chance of rain and or snow showers, mostly in the overnight hours, and we are looking at a low right around 32. Tomorrow is when the storm is going to start moving in, rain and snow showers. We are expecting a high of 38. Little or no snow accumulations are expected for Thursday evening. That will persist with a low of about 25. Friday is when the storm is going to hit, and we're expecting anywhere between 1 and 3 inches of snow between Friday and the weekend. That's a look at your weather for 7th Ranch.
Thank you, Gina, and appreciate it. Very well done. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. The best of accounting services to you, your family, and your business. Offices at 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. The best. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Well, normally on Thursdays we have this next segment called Starving to Death, but I am not going to be here tomorrow. Sharon's going to do the program, more doctor's appointments for my lovely bride and myself. And so therefore, if you're hungry and starving to death, I'm going to tell you some great places to go while you're Christmas shopping. How about the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley? Oh, eggnog and pumpkin and mint shakes. And all the burgers, especially my favorite, the Farmer Brown burger, and all the kids' meals, it's all there. Monday through Saturday, 11 to 9. Don't forget the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. How about Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley? Pumpkin empanadas. They're good, good, good. Along with their street tacos and the new pork burritos. Oh, knock your boots off delicious. Anything and everything on that menu, fantastic, with really nice people at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's back up a little bit and go to two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert, 700 Overland in Burley. Oh, pumpkin shakes, eggnog shakes, fish sandwiches after 3 in the afternoon, only $3.99. What? You'd better stop in. Really nice people serving you. Boy, I can attest to that. Great folks at 2 locations of Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. Last but not least, let's go over to Steve-O's Food, made the way you love it, at 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Steaks, all the fillets, all the ribeyes, everything over there. And they want me to mention, you can get gift certificates over there, and I urge you to do so that your friends and relatives can appreciate what a great place to go eat. Stop in for stocking stuffers. Get those gift certificates at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Absolutely great place to go eat. And all of those folks, all of these businesses, really great to stop in if you're hungry and starving to death. Be sure and stop in. We're going to take a break right now for about 7 minutes, and after we come back, we're going to have our monthly trek into the wilderness with the Idaho Fish and Game. So right now, we'll send it back over to Sean, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Good morning, everybody. Hour number 3, Zeb at the Ranch on this Wednesday, December 16th. If you haven't done your Christmas shopping, be like me. You better hurry to the store. I'm going to try to get all done tomorrow if I get the opportunity. We're brought to you by our dear friends, our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they right now are involved in helping all the folks in the Magic Valley that are needy. They're on their great big food drive right now to help supply a lot of people the necessary food to get through the winter months, and I salute them. Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and they're helping others at Christmas time. Don't forget, too, Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. I want to also give a great big shout out to Ramsey Heating and Electric along with Lennox Home Comfort Systems, and don't forget, you deserve to have have perfect air in your home? Well, you can check it out with Ramsey Heating and Electric today. Call them at 678-0459 or visit ramseysonline.com. Conditions apply. See dealer for details. And don't forget about the comfortization and the beautification of your home. Treat yourself to a Christmas present and stop in at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. They have got the biggest selection of recliners you've ever seen, and they've got recliners for tall people, short people, skinny people, and people like Craig White. So be sure and stop in and check out all the recliners at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, along with the dining room sets, all the flooring, everything at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. Sorry, Craig, I just slipped out. I apologize. Good morning to the wonders of the wildlife and the people that oversee our wildlife. Good morning, Idaho Fish and Game. Craig White, Supervisor. Terry Thompson, Communications Director. We've got a double-barreled shotgun of fun for this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Zeb. I really appreciated the shout-out, and I'm sure Lee Furniture did, because if they can find something for me, they can find it for anyone.
You know, it's really true, though. When you go to buy a chair like that, they're made for various body contortionist, if you will, and you got to go try one on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have a favorite chair in your living room?
I have more of a favorite couch, but I tell you what, this is went in a conversation direction I didn't intend, but I've had some comfortable beds, but I got one of those that will lift up the feet and it'll lift up the back, and it does all that.
Really?
And I tell you, it's the best money I've ever spent.
I'll tell you what, you're really with it. Craig White, Regional Supervisor. How about your comforts, Terry?
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. I do have a favorite chair.
Do you?
And my 1-year-old lab now has decided that even though he's 90 pounds, he's going to be a lap dog when I sit in.
You don't want to let them do this because they're going to take some of the creases and the wrinkles that you have put in there, and they're going to change and alter that, and it won't fit you the same anymore.
Yeah, but nope, it's all good.
All right. Okay, here we are, already December, and closing in on the closeout of 2020. And on your list, you've got moose, mountain goat, bighorn sheep. What's the topic that we want to discuss?
All of it.
Okay.
So I'll start out. We have season setting coming up for mountain goats, moose, and bighorn sheep, and this will be at the January Commission meeting.
Okay.
When the Commission sets those seasons. But right now, the public has a chance to weigh in on what those seasons may look like. We have some proposals out there. Those will be discussed Monday, December 21st, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And you can find that link on our department webpage. It's going to be a virtual open house.
Okay.
And then, so you can go on the website. You can go to that link and view that kind of presentation. And then you can call in to talk to a biologist on Tuesday, December 29th from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. That's Mountain Standard Time. Phone number is 208-324-4359. Again, 208-324-4359. And those that information is also on our website.
Craig, what would be the purpose so that we can kind of give this to tantalize their minds? Why would they want to call that biologist?
Well, this is their chance to weigh in. So they're going to have the chance on the December 21st, that Monday, to kind of view the proposals that we're recommending. And then they can call into that biologist. And these, in the past we've had open houses where people come in and visit with us.
Yeah.
This being COVID friendly will be. They can call in and talk to that biologist. We'll have a lot of biologists and staff working, so it's not like one person on the phone and you have to, hope you get call in when they're not on.
Right.
But it's the chance to weigh in on those proposals that you can view on the 21st. And then it's also a chance, if you have something on your mind related to moose, sheep, or goats, you can share it, share your ideas. And we'll take comments through December 30th and then formulate a package to go to the commission for.
Let me ask you, and before I say anything more, I want you to give Terry a raise. That was part of our agreement. Terry was very emphatic the last time he was here. He said that for the excellent job that he's done on my program, he wanted me to solicit a raise from you to be given to him starting January 1st.
Well, absolutely. When you work for free, I'll double it, and, he can get double the free.
Why is he sunburned all of a sudden?
Yeah. I don't remember that part of our conversation.
No, but I tell you, he did a great job on the radio. Both you guys are very, very good. What about the mountain goat, the bighorn sheep, and the moose? How are their populations, and what about the habitat? I mean, are they growing in numbers?
Well, in some areas, yes. We've talked about this before. In the South Hills, we've had some very healthy moose populations. Right. And, in fact, we every year have to move some out of Burley or other towns, Kimberly, and kind of stick them back in the hills. And so, we have had the fire, which we're all aware of, in the South Hills. And, with a growing moose population and then a fire, we have some concerns that we have too many moose even before the fire out there. I mean, you got to balance it with habitat. And so
May I ask a dumb question right there? How do you know and discern if you've lost too much habitat for the numbers?
Well, that is one of, it sounds simple, but that is actually one of the most challenging thing as a wildlife biologist is what we call carrying capacity, the capacity of the habitat to support wildlife. And what we want to do is not have it so we have the animal population actually be at carrying capacity. We want it below. In fact, you kind of want it quite a bit below, because that's the level that you actually are growing populations better and providing more opportunities when you strike the right balance. And the truth is, we don't have a perfect way to analyze carrying capacity. It would cost more money and time than we have for all of our programs. Mm-hmm. And so it's a balancing act of watching how the population is performing, the number of young animals out on the hillside every year compared to the number of cows in the case of a moose, does in the case of mule deer, and then we also try and balance how many mature bucks or bulls are out there in the case of deer, moose, and elk.
If you want to take that mic out of the stand, if it'd be handier for you, and hold it up to your mouth, you could. I mean, Terry, he builds his biceps up by doing that.
Well, he does. So the answer to the question, Zeb, is it's a little bit of an art. Some science, knowing what the hillside, what kind of vegetation is on it, because we do have an idea of what plants best serve populations, but also a science, an art on trying to balance what's there.
What about, when I saw this, first of all, we got to touch on the big game season setting coming soon on deer, elk, and pronghorn. Do you want to make any other comments on that?
Before we jump to that, let me get back. So you asked about, some of these changes. Yeah. So we are going to propose some antlerless moose hunts down in the South Hills.
Really?
Yeah, because the female part of the population drives the population. I mean, anybody that's been married for 40 plus years, Zeb, should know that it's the woman that makes all the decisions, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think your wife is listening, so good recovery. But no, in all honesty, as the female part of the population goes for deer species, and moose, elk, and mule deer and white-tailed deer are all part of the deer family, so will the population go. They're the ones that are cranking out, the fawns and the calves.
Right.
And so we do think that in order to keep that balance, we need to propose some moose harvest. We have the moose. It's a good time to do it, especially with the fire. Will help kind of keep the moose population in check and not overextend it above the carrying capacity.
Now, Terry, Craig, has it been at what, 2? What are the numbers that were taken in the last couple of years, the permits for the moose?
Oh, I don't remember right off the top of my head, but in the South Hills, we've had kind of the whole stretch, kind of 2 hunt areas, as I recall, 2 to 3. And I think typically we've had 5 tags out there for bulls. Now, here's the caveat, though. It has become so productive and so, such a place that people want to go. We also have people that have the governor's tag, which is a tag you can hunt anywhere in the season for that species. they'll go harvest there. There's also harvest by Native Americans. I don't know in particular in the South Hills, but that is an area where the Shoshone-Bannock can rightfully hunt and do hunt down there.
Oh, I see.
And those aren't part of those 5 or so tags.
They're in addition.
They're in addition.
I got you.
And people can choose to go with those kind of tags or with tribal rights, go down there and harvest. So it's important that we also think about all the harvest happening.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to touch on something right now about what is this? Glacier NP, grizzly bear, and trail runner collide. Is that what you and I were talking about last month? Yeah. I'm going to have Terry get on here right now, Terry Thompson, the communications director, and I absolutely am still stunned as to how somebody running up in the hills could, quote unquote, collide with a grizzly bear.
Yeah, so, we did talk about this at the last show. I don't know how it came up, but so I went back and revisited the situation, looked at the press releases and such from the Park Service, and it was, in fact, 3 people that were trail running, and the lead runner was a young woman who, when she rounded the corner of this trail, physically ran into this grizzly bear.
Ran into a grizzly bear?
Yeah, they physically collided.
Oh, my.
And they both tumbled down the hill.
Both of them?
Both of them tumbled down the hill. And from what the article says, as soon as they both recovered at the bottom of the hill or wherever they both ended up, the bear ran off, luckily. The woman climbed back up on the trail. They took her to the hospital. She had some minor injuries, but nothing life-threatening. But yeah, I think, and the one thing I still will probably argue is that they probably had headphones, earbuds. They were probably listening to music as they ran down the trail.
But what's the bear's excuse?
Well, and maybe, if they're running, and especially if they have headphones on, they probably weren't talking amongst themselves.
Yeah.
And so they're running pretty silent, and the bear might have been humming a tune. I don't know, but they didn't.
Can you imagine, honestly, on behalf of the grizzly bear and this lady that hit the bear, can you imagine what the bear's thoughts were and the lady's thoughts as they're tumbling down the hill together?
Well, I think the bear just wanted to get the heck out of Dodge.
You used kinder words than I was going to.
So, because the bear did run off.
And that's unusual for a grizzly to run from anything, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but I'm sure it was pretty startled.
How big a grizzly was this?
It doesn't say if this was a juvenile bear, but if it was a solitary bear, I'm sure, I'd probably defer to Craig. He's more expert than me. But
well, the point is, though, if this is the woman that hit the bear, right?
Yes.
They'd better hire her, Craig, to play linebacker for the Green Bay Packers. If she can knock a grizzly bear off a mountain.
I was going to say, knowing you're a Green Bay Packers fan, I mean, looking at your mini stadium every day I come in here, I'm suggesting you get on this. This could save your coveted Packers.
This is one mean mama, if she's that tough, let me tell you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, but everybody's okay.
As far as we know, everybody's okay. Obviously, the bear came out probably the better of the two because she did end up in the hospital. But no, but to me, it's just another reminder that when we're out recreating in the woods, we need to be aware of our surroundings and listen to. Make sure wildlife knows you're in the area.
Yeah, and you can rest assured that it'll never, ever happen to me because on crutches, you don't run into a bear.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just thought I'd throw that out. Here's something that's very, very serious, and I'm going to treat it as such, that I saw in the paper that a bull moose had been poached and left to rot. This, to me, is as low as it goes, and I certainly hope whoever did it is listening, and they know that we absolutely think nothing of them as a human being. The laws aren't tough enough, in my opinion. Who wants to cover this story first?
So, a little bit of background on that situation. So a hunter who was hunting up on Deadline Ridge towards the end of October came across this moose carcass. No meat had been taken off of it. The antlers, it was a beautiful set of moose antlers, big bull. Got a hold of our conservation officer. He determined doing a little necropsy up on the hill that it had been killed by a firearm, and also confirmed that there had been no meat salvaged or taken from the
just shot
and left. And based off of rate of decomposition, our initial thoughts were that it happened late August, early part of September.
Mm-hmm.
So we put out a press release asking for the public's help, because a lot of times that does help, and it actually, that press release got us a very strong piece of additional information. And what that did was there was another moose hunter up in that same area. He has a picture of that moose, same moose, alive, and we know it's the same moose because the pattern on the antlers is pretty unique.
Yeah.
So he has a picture of that moose alive on September 21st. So what that did is it moved the time of death of when it was poached about 3 more weeks forward. So we put out another press release just to let people know, one, that going out and asking for the public's help is useful. People step up and help us out. But it also maybe can jog some people's memory that maybe if they saw or heard something after September 21st up on Deadline Ridge, that maybe they can have that next piece of information that'll help us out.
Craig, you've been in the fishing game business, if you will, for how many years?
19 years of fishing game.
Rounded off 20 years.
All right, we can do that.
And all your 20 years of serving wildlife and being a part of creating a habitat for sportsmen to enjoy wildlife, basically, how does anybody justify the poaching and killing and leaving of something like a bull moose? I mean, what's the matter with these people?
Well, I think people have different ways they rationalize, and you can break that word down into a rational lie. And I think they certainly do, but I don't think any true sportsman or sportswoman, holds with that kind of behavior.
No.
And people that don't hunt find it appalling. And when hunters and people that don't hunt find a behavior appalling, I think it really speaks to that behavior not being. I don't even have the words, but obviously terrible behavior.
If somebody's starving, let's just create a scenario here real quick. If somebody's really starving and they haven't got the money to go buy food or whatever, and I will say this, let's say a deer walks across the back of their property and they shoot the deer and they eat all the venison, etc. I can have much more complimentary feelings towards that situation than I can ever for somebody just shooting, killing, leaving, and let rot a prize animal like this bull moose.
I agree. I can have compassion for someone starving that would, shoot a doe or even a buck if that's all they could get to feed their family. I'm not saying it's right, but I can have compassion and I can have empathy. Something like this is just leaving something to rot and waste, either for the thrill of shooting it or hoping to come back a year later and claim the antlers as, winter kill is just wrong.
What about the law? I mean, what happens if they catch the perpetrator? Which one is going to handle that, Terry?
I was just going to say that because moose are a trophy species, there are stiffer penalties for if we can make a case against that actually makes it to the court. The biggest problem is getting enough evidence to be able to write a citation that will, when it goes into the legal system, that will have an outcome of getting a guilty verdict.
Really? So basically, they're getting away, even if they're caught, with nothing more than a slap on the wrist. In many cases.
Yeah, I hate to say that because, once it gets to the legal system, it's beyond our scope.
Out of your hands, yeah.
Yeah, but our officers work very hard to make these cases because it's, as Craig's been saying, it's just wrong on so many different levels.
When I saw the article in the paper, and I talked to a couple of people that are my neighbors, and definitely they're sportsmen, and they just really enjoy hunting and fishing, I can't even relate some of the verbiage that they said on the radio. I mean, they're livid about whoever did this should be caught and severely punished.
Yeah, and there is a fine, and I don't know about you, but paying a dime is not my favorite thing, and paying lots of dimes is certainly more painful. And so there is a fine, but there's also a chance of loss of, depending, especially with this being a trophy species, loss of a hunting license for a year or 2 or 3. And
I think it should be lifetime.
Well, there are lifetime bans too, depending on the severity and frequency, and that's up to a judge. But it is a situation that makes challenging. We were talking about moose seasons and everything else, and of course we plan for legal harvest, and that's what we manage for. And by the way, I did check the numbers, and down there in Unit 54 it's 3, and it's 3 on the other side. The dividing line is line 27 between 54 and 55, and there's 3 there. So a total of 6 down in kind of that area we're managing these trophy bows for. But it's a real challenge on top of trying to understand what habitat is doing, especially after a big fire, understand what the moose population is doing. You have your set seasons with set number of tags, and on top of that, then you have losses due to poaching that sometimes you're not always aware. It's huge for the public to make these calls and help us.
I want to talk a little bit more about that. We got a break coming up here, and I want to stop right now and acknowledge the fact that we'll take phone calls with our friends from the Idaho Fish and Game, Craig White and Terry Thompson. And first and foremost, I've got to tell everybody about the Bennett Boys Auction Service having a great big sale this Saturday at 11 o'clock over in Buell, the David and Florence Pierce Moving Sale. It's at 1415 East, 4400 North of Buell. Look for the signs. They'll get you right to the front yard. They're going to have ATVs and sprayers and shop tools and all kinds of different supplies, Craftsman bench grinder. They're going to have lawn and garden supplies, furniture and household, all of this and so much more at the David and Florence Pierce Moving Sale this Saturday the 19th, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. And remember this, no sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Also, don't forget next Wednesday, Denny's Christmas on the Radio right here on Zeb at the Ranch from 8 to 11. Denny's is going to be sponsoring our 3-hour program that morning, and we're looking forward to a good old-fashioned Christmas on the radio. Don't forget, you can stop in anytime while you're Christmas shopping to Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley. The very best of breakfast, lunch, and dinner anytime and all the time. Denny's Restaurant. We're going to send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Once again, don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric teaming up with Lennox and their Lennox home comfort systems that'll help improve your health and your air in your home. Don't forget to call Ramsey Heating and Electric and find out more. 678-0459 or visit RamseysOnline.com. Conditions apply, and see the dealer for details. We're blessed to have 2 great guys, and I give them a hard time every time they come here per month, but the Idaho Fish and Game with the regional supervisor, Craig White, and the communications director, Terry Thompson. 2 really, really nice people, and they're devoted to helping wildlife and fishing here in our great state of Idaho. Anything more we want to say about that poached moose before we go any further?
Well, I'm going to change the subject a little bit. Zeb, you were so kind in your words to Terry and I that I had to think about it. I realized, Christmas is 9 days away, and he's trying to get on Santa's good side.
True.
So your kindness is appreciated.
True. I was hoping I could get at least maybe a coffee mug or something from the fishing game.
We can arrange that.
Okay.
One thing before we move on, I mean, we've talked about the moose, sheep, and goat seasons, but and those are what's going to be right in front of the commission in January. But we're also gearing up to talk about deer and elk and pronghorn and bears and lions and wolf seasons. And those will be taking public comment in January and February on those, and it'll be in front of the commission to make decisions on any season changes in March.
I see.
So I just want the public to be aware of that.
Okay. What, Terry, sick cow moose in Haley, what's the story on that?
So we...
Hold your mic real close if you can.
So a couple weeks ago we got a report. Well, we've been getting multiple reports about a cow moose that had something wrong with its eyes.
It couldn't see.
It couldn't see. Well, yeah. I mean, literally. And once we did anesthetize the moose, it was pretty obvious that moose could not see.
Really?
The infection in the eyes was pretty severe. But we did get a reliable report a couple weeks ago about where that moose was at. We loaded up the truck pretty fast, went up to Haley, and were able to anesthetize that moose. We gave it several shots, antibiotics, treated the eyes, put a radio collar on it. I just saw on social media yesterday that the cow and calf walked by the front door of Atkinson's in Haley. Right?
Walked by the front door.
Yep. So if they're up and mobile around town. The angle of the video, I couldn't quite look at the eyes well, but we're hopeful that the moose does well and the antibiotics will help. I just checked in on the lab results. We haven't got anything back yet, but we're still going to call it conjunctivitis.
I see.
Of a pink eye kind of.
Walked by the grocery store.
Yep, but that's...
I mean, it's just like, well, there goes Mabel.
Yep.
Holy cow. They're not really the best animals to go out and just take pictures of, are they?
Well, our goal is not to have big game like moose, elk, deer, bears, mountain lions. Our goal is not to have them living inside our communities.
No.
People love to see them around, but, they belong up on the hillside.
Has this moose, because maybe of a lack of eyesight and dependency on perhaps human beings taking care of it or whatever, has it kind of domesticized itself to where it's going to stay in town all the time?
I don't know that we could say that. This cow-calf pair has definitely been hanging out inside Haley city limits.
No kidding.
And our goal would be to kind of encourage them to move along, get outside of town. Moose can be deceiving. They seem pretty docile. My experience in Alaska is you can at times get very close to them. But you never know what's going to set them off, and like I say, from a public safety standpoint, we would prefer that these moose not be encouraged to live in town.
Absolutely. And I would suppose that the calf, doing what mom does, that's a problem too, because he's going to grow up not really appreciating the wild and away from town atmosphere.
I think we're speculating on that with many different. We have resident deer and elk herds that are not migrating out of the valley. We have what we think are lions that are being born and raised inside city limits, and so they no longer have this natural fear of people. So, we're working with the communities up in Blaine County to try to encourage what we would call wildlife smart behavior, understanding what wildlife does and their needs, and what we can do to be safe around them, but a lot of that means getting them out of our community.
Absolutely. We got to scoot along because I've talked too much about that one issue, and I'm sorry. I apologize. Disabled American Veterans Waterfowl Hunt in Hagerman.
So this is a feel-good story.
This is good.
We took 4 disabled veterans out waterfowl hunting a couple weeks ago down in Hagerman. Had a blast. Those guys, it was really a bonding type of experience between the veterans. And, it's one of those things that we really enjoy doing every year. Next year, I'm going to kind of let the cat out of the bag here. We're actually going to do a hunt with 4 women disabled vets.
How do you go about discerning who is picked to go on this hunt?
So the Veterans Affairs, Idaho State Veterans Affairs picks the hunters that go out. And a lot of these are in some level of treatment programs, trying to help them integrate back into society, if you will. I mean,
I'll bet they enjoyed that.
Oh, the smiles on their faces were amazing. And so we enjoy doing it. We're going to keep doing it, working with the Veterans Program. And so, yeah, I just wanted to give a shout out to all of our veterans.
Now, were they on a kind of a raft, or were they on shore, on ramps or something, or how did they conduct the hunt?
So we had 4 blinds set up.
Oh, I see.
And we had a mentor in each blind with them that would call birds in, give them tips on how to shoot birds. So these are they're a mentored hunt. So the idea is to teach them a new skill, a hunting skill, and hopefully they'll get out and keep hunting on into the future.
And the ladies are going to be next.
Absolutely,
they'll probably be all Annie Oakleys and outshoot the guys.
Yeah, time will tell. But the good part about it is we are going to be recruiting women mentors.
That's great.
So yeah, we'll be talking about that more next year. But again, it's just, we feel really honored to be able to take these disabled vets out.
Well, kudos to you guys with the Fish and Game. I mean, it's so easy to criticize people and or groups or government officials, but when something is done that's really good back to the community, God bless you. I really mean that.
Well, we appreciate that. And, just a real quick shout. I think Idaho overall really supports vets. And,
I do too.
In a lot of the programs, not just this program that we're talking about, disabled vets have a lower price on their license in Idaho. That's just one thing related to Fish and Game. There are examples in state government and, more importantly, private lives of people really appreciating vets. And my dad was a World War II vet. I think I've mentioned that maybe on the show before. And I grew up on an Army base in a rare situation. And I just have always appreciated vets myself.
And I really appreciate the way you come into my house and salute me. I like that. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir, General, sir.
Hey, before I do the weather forecast, I want to talk about this next issue. I got about 3 minutes here. Pheasant stalking needed. I don't think I saw but one pheasant all fall.
Of a wild bird?
Oh, yeah, wild pheasants, yeah. The numbers weren't there this year, I don't think. Am I wrong?
We do have reports of lower numbers, and that's kind of the observation of all upland game. And we do have 2 areas that we stock pheasants. It requires an upland game bird permit. Terry's flashing me 3 because there's 2 areas, I call it one area, but there's 2 BOR tracks up by Rupert, that north of Rupert, that we stock pheasants. That's a new thing for this fall, and then there's Niagara Springs. And they do require the upland game bird permit. But it's been, a success. Adding that one over on this side of the valley, Magic Valley region's been a success. Those birds will continue to release those. Although the week of December 21st marks the last of the scheduled releases, the season does in this area go to the end of December.
Oh, it does.
In this region and west of us, actually east of us, Upper Snake and southeast regions closed at the end of November. We have a little longer season, and it's just a great opportunity.
Every year for the last, I don't know how many years, I bought this place 30 years ago, along this canal going to the north, there's always been at least 3 or 4 every year. I never heard of one this year.
Yeah, I have some across the field, in the big field across from my house, and I heard them a little bit, but I did not see as many birds this year. And I think they are down this year. The nice things about pheasants and other upland game is they're cyclic, meaning that they'll rebound. They're often called what we call an R-selected species, meaning I use the R to remember rapid growth when the conditions are right.
Well, I hope it all goes well. I'd love to see the pheasant season and the pheasant numbers increase. I just love hearing that in the fall.
Yeah, me too.
I really do. Hey, I've got to do a weather forecast, and before I get the weather in, I want to tell everybody about Edith's Cafe. They're located at 144 East Highway 81, right across from the golf course in Burley, and what a great place to eat. Oh, my goodness. They're open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 8, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 9, and you can call, and they'll have your order ready for you when you drive in the yard. Don't forget to give them a jingle at 878-2248. 2248. They also do catering. My goodness, from sandwiches to steaks, you're going to enjoy the great food and the great people at Edith's Cafe, 144 East Highway 81 in Burley. That number again, 878-2248. Right now, let's go to the weather, sponsored by Don Scarrow and the crew at Scarrow's Meats over in Jerome, 331 North Road, Jerome. Number to call, 324-7657. You can go to their website and check out all the delicious meats, the smoked turkeys and the prime ribs and all the different bacons, everything. It's scarrowsmeats.com. Don't forget, Scarrow's Meats in Jerome. We'll tell you more right after Gina has the weather.
Enjoy the calm before the storm because there is a storm front moving in. Here's a look at your weather forecast. Today looks like partly cloudy skies, especially more towards the afternoon. We are looking at a high of about 41. Slight breeze out of the southwest at about 6 miles an hour. Tonight, chance of rain and or snow showers, mostly in the overnight hours, and we are looking at a low right around 32. Tomorrow is when the storm is going to start moving in, rain and snow showers. We are expecting a high of 38. Little or no snow accumulations are expected for Thursday evening. That will persist with a low of about 25. Friday is when the storm is going to hit, and we're expecting anywhere between 1 and 3 inches of snow between Friday and the weekend. That's what's your weather for 7 Durant.
Thank you very much, Gina. And the weather brought to you this hour by some really good people with delicious meats. Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. I have to chuckle when I get to this next subject because being from Wisconsin and back in the Intermountain area or the Midwest area of our United States, ice fishing. I still, with all my born and being raised back with ice fishing being so popular and the millions upon millions of ice shanties out on the lakes, I think they're all nuts.
Agree with you.
Come on, Thompson, sell it.
Yeah, well, ice fishing could be a hoot. Years ago, when I worked out at headquarters in Boise, we would run up to Cascade, and we would take the big double burner propane, and we'd have big pots of chili.
It always seems funny to me,
drinks.
pardon my interruption, to go out on the lake and start a fire.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. There's something wrong with ice fishermen and women.
Go ahead, Terry, I'm sorry.
But, the thing, in Alaska, we always called it hard water fishing because, it literally is getting out on the hard water. And but, it is a lot of fun, but, you have to be prepared. You have to have, the people are now buying these ice huts.
Yeah.
They're nylon. They're not like in the Midwest where they pull out a 2-story house, onto the ice and have TV screens in there watching the Green Bay Packers beat the Vikings. But
good choice of words.
Yeah. But ice fishing is a lot of fun. There's a lot of interest in doing it here in the Magic Valley. So right now we've had a good run of cold weather. We got good thick ice out there. But there
is good thick ice out there.
On Mormon, Magic, Salmon Falls Creek is starting to ice over.
How does one discern good thick ice? Give me the total aggregate number of inches.
What you do is you take your neighbors out with you, and depending on how far they can go out there before they fall in, you know how thick it is.
Isn't it funny, though, Craig? You talk about ice fishermen, and I've seen this happen. They will drive out on the ice with a $75,000 pickup, and then all of a sudden, when it breaks through, they're cursing everybody for having the truck go through the ice. I never could understand ice fishing, I'm sorry.
Well, but we laugh about it, but ice fishing can be dangerous. So,
boy, he hit the nail on the head there.
So we want people to be safe. It's probably a good rule of thumb, 4 inches at a minimum.
Yeah.
Before you even think about getting out there and doing any ice fishing.
Holy cow! That's why I was curious. Because we here in Idaho, do we really get that kind of thickness on the ice for normal winter months?
I guess it depends. Henry's Lake has extremely thick ice right now.
Yeah.
Up around Magic, Mormon, I'm gonna guess. Let me look at my notes here real quick. I think our fisheries biologists are saying 6 to 8 inches, and this was as of about 10 days ago.
Really?
So
you don't like it either, do you, Craig?
Well,
be honest. Come on.
I'll be honest, and I haven't tried it, and I would like to try it. I'll say this, we were having fun, but we recently put out a little video that some of our biologists over in eastern Idaho put together. It shows you, how to go about ice fishing.
Oh.
And I watched it, and it also gives you kind of, this thick of ice you can walk on, this thick of ice you could, take your ATV. And anyways, I found the video very interesting, and I said, man, I want to go ice fishing now. I got to try this. So I do need to get out there and give it a try.
Really, when you take a guy like me, and I make no bones about it, I'm on crutches. And crutches have a tendency to go out from under you, even in some dry conditions. Why would I want to subject myself to having my body cover all 4 points of the compass, trying to walk on a frozen lake and enjoy fishing?
Well, and we talked earlier about how, just floors get pretty slick and it's no fun.
Oh.
But, hey, get the right ice conditions. You can go out there in a UTV in seriousness with the right ice conditions and throw up a little thing around you and fish. And
some of these guys get into it, though, Craig. Like you said, 2-story houses. I mean, back in Wisconsin and Minnesota, where I was raised, they're immaculate on the inside.
Oh, yeah. I remember watching Grumpy Old Man, the movie.
Yeah.
And, that's what they did. And it kind of looked fun, especially when you get a little older, to be grumpy old men out on the ice in this very nice 2-story house.
I just have never had the security of going out and chopping a hole through the ice, and then right next to that hole, you sit in a little shanty and turn on the propane heaters and heat everything up, and you see melting ice. To me, that doesn't sound safe.
I think both you and I, Zeb, need to just find someone who knows what they're doing, and then have the security of going with someone that has done it a lot, and you figure, well, they've survived to this point, maybe they can keep us safe.
But the law of averages. Remember that.
But the thing is, you can put legally 5 poles in the water when you ice fish.
How come?
Because that's just the way it is.
Really?
That's
5 poles?
Yep, you can have 5 poles, 5 poles.
And 5 holes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But, and the thing is, you can put this little tent over the top of the hole, so you don't have to look out through the hole and see if your tip up is showing a fish. It's right there inside. You got your little buddy heater going.
You sound like somebody that used to be in Alaska or something.
So you do need to go watch this. We're going to send you the link, Zeb. This link is pretty cool for this video, and it does show someone in one of those tent Terry was talking about, and the light was such that they could actually see the fish come up under the ice and kind of bite at it. And
really?
It was like, wow, that'd be really cool.
I got to hit this real quick, and then I got to wrap it up. Gift certificates for licenses make great Christmas gifts. They're available over at the office in Jerome, correct?
Yes, and we're open on Christmas Eve, the 24th. We're not open on Christmas.
Okay.
We're not open on New Year's Day, but we're open the day before. And so here's a great way to get that Christmas gift, or if you forget and you want to celebrate New Year's, that's the way to do it. Reminder that all licenses, 2020 licenses, expire on December 31st, except your trapping license.
Right.
And most tags expire on December 31st. Before you break us off, Terry may have more, but Zeb, in all honesty, I just wanted to tell you over the air how much I appreciate the opportunity to come on your radio show, and how much we appreciate you and the missus. You're wonderful people.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. And I've enjoyed it. I mean, thoroughly have enjoyed you and all the other members of the fishing game. Terry's done an outstanding job. Craig, anytime and every time you want to come on, you're always welcome. And right back at you. Merry Christmas. And I certainly hope in the new year, 2021, we can throw the masks away. Yeah. Thank you. Want to remind everybody about our major sponsor, and that's your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. This is their week of giving, and I really appreciate what they're doing. They're taking charge to make sure that everybody is going to be taken care of at Christmas time, and they're delivering, I don't know how much food, but it is a bunch, all this week to needy families in this area. God bless them. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers, with the best of tires. And by the way, if you haven't switched over to your snow tires, better think about it before Friday. We're going to get hit again. And don't forget the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries. With James and Buell, Dan on Pole Line in Twin Falls, along with Lane and Rupert, Mike and Jerome, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, the Twist family in Paul, and my buddy Trent on Overland in Burley. The very best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. That's going to wrap it up for today. Craig, Terry, God bless you with the fishing game. Merry Christmas to both of you.
And Merry Christmas to you and Deanne both.
Thank you.
It's great. We enjoy being here.
Thank you very much. God bless you. Our Bible verse for today, 2 Corinthians from verse 7, and this is really the truth. He will give you the strength to endure. And boy, do we need that. Until tomorrow, Sharon's going to do the program, and I'm going to be gone. So, Sharon Hardy, thank you very much. The way things were, the way things ought to be. And the 4 words that mean the most to me, in God we trust. Adios. We'll see you next Monday at 8:06.